The ASUS ROG Ally comes with 3 specific modes. By pressing the button, you can toggle between 10 watts for silent operating mode, 15 watts for performance operating mode, and finally a 25 watts for turbo operating mode. As we look at the performance here from Assassin's Creed Mirage, we start to see a pattern forming, which is with the higher presets, particularly the ultra high. One thing you'll run into is the VRAM limit. So if you just notice there about 6 gigs of VRAM being used in the ultra high preset, you'll have to go into the ASUS Armory Crate and enable or increase the amount of VRAM that's allotted to that graphics portion of the APU. So that's one caveat there to keep in mind. But if we look at it here, the ultra high, the very high, and even the high preset at 1080p resolution in the turbo mode even cannot manage to hit a 60 FPS. Now the frame rate is between the 40s and 50s. However, the low rates is very low in these cases, and you will see stutter, and you'll experience that during the gameplay. So I believe if you're looking for gameplay here on Assassin's Creed Mirage to be smooth and to be enjoyable on the ASUS ROG Ally, you're going to be looking at either the medium preset or perhaps even the low preset at the native 1080p resolution. Now, as we drop down from turbo mode into performance mode, which is inaptly named in my opinion, we'll get to 15 watts of performance here, and the frame rate drops significantly. Now we're in the mid to high 30s at best with the medium setting or high setting, and the low setting is just simply I think, the visual quality drops significantly on the low setting. So if you keep it on medium, you'll get most of the visual eye candy in this game, and you'll be able to get a mid 30s to perhaps touching 40 FPS frame rate in this game. Keep in mind that any of the higher presets you will not be able to hit that, and by default VSync is turned off because this is actually a 120 hertz panel. So enabling that would give us a bizarre experience as it tries to catch up to that 120 FPS. Additional thing you cannot do in this game is that the FPS limit and the adaptive quality cannot be enabled at the same time. It has to be either or. But that said, now we're looking at the silent mode, which is essentially 10 watts of performance. You can see here from the screenshots that we're getting about 9 watts of performance out of this thing. It's still incredible that it can actually render the game, but if we look here, even at medium settings, we're now getting 21 FPS. And if you're looking to play this game, this is not the game to be played in silent or the performance mode. Your best bet here is going to be the turbo mode, unless you're willing to turn down the settings or play at a lower resolution as 1020p. That said, though, there is an optimal setting here. If you go into your screen settings in your graphical settings here, leave it to 1080p, the native resolution, leave the resolution scaling to 100%. If you then go into graphics and enable the medium quality preset that's baked into the game, enable that, scroll all the way down until you get to post-processing, leave the 60 FPS adaptive quality there. You can play with 45 FPS if that's something you'd like to do, but enable FSR2, which by default is not enabled. And the reason for that is because the game cannot detect if you're going to be running on an FSR GPU, a capable GPU, an AMD GPU, or an NVIDIA GPU. Thus, that's for you to go in and tweak. But once you do that, we'll look at the performance here in 25 watts turbo mode, and with the screen stats on, you'll see that it starts at around 40 watts, but keep in mind that with the device plugged in and with the latest BIOS update, you'll be able to hit about 30 watts of performance when the device is plugged in, and about 25 watts of performance consistently on battery mode. But that said, now with the 60 FPS adaptive quality on medium preset at 1080p in turbo mode, you'll start to see that the device will settle somewhere around 50, 51, 52 FPS. Although this is still not able to hit the 60 FPS setting even with FSR2, the adaptive quality does help to get a smoother looking gameplay. Never mind the stutters that you're seeing here, because those only appear in this game because the capture card adds a little bit of latency to the capture. But that said, you'll get a smooth and pretty decent looking gameplay on the device. Now, there is very little, in my opinion, drop because of the density on the smaller display between medium and some of the other higher presets, so you won't really be missing much, but you'll be able to get the extra performance out of the medium mode to make this game playable in a handheld portable environment away from your desktop PC. That said, there's some other tweaks you can do here. You can opt it to 45 FPS for the adaptive quality, and if that helps you. But in my opinion, 45 FPS still looks a little bit stuttery and jittery, as 60 FPS at 1080p is the target and the sweet spot. So hope you enjoyed this game, hope you enjoyed this video and some tips about how to run ASUS Mirage on your ASUS ROG Ally. Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please share and subscribe and help to grow this channel. We'll see you in the next video.